What's on your evil mind?
Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really Iron Man, Mr. Stark?
Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Comic Book Chronicles. I am your host, Roddykat. You can find me on Twitter at Roddykat. You can find me at News Need at on Twitter and Blue Sky on both of those. And you can also find me at CBCaps on Instagram.
South Carolina with Columbia down the way.
Okay. And the sound effects you've heard come from none other than our man in Brooklyn, Agent_70 on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads.
What's up, everybody? Co-hosting from the Borough of Kings, live and direct, as always.
Cook and roll with the Brooklyn boys, so for one last time, I need y'all to roll.
I'm just a kid from Brooklyn.
Indeed. And, oh, great. I was hoping that was going to happen. And, folks, this being the Comic Book Chronicles, you can find us on the Cold Slither Podcast Network, that's ESPN.US.
Do it today.
You can also find us on your podcast perusal place of choice, whether it be Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Cold Slither Podcast Network SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that helps people find our show.
There we go. I don't know. I have got to figure out why I can't keep the shot in our shots in the shot. Because of Discord. Thanks, Discord. Anyway, cut that out later on. But yeah, folks. So a little bit of housekeeping ahead of the thing. So, Peacemaker, season 2 premiered tonight, and we ain't gonna talk about it because, well, I mean, it just came out at like 9 o'clock, and we were about to record, and it wasn't worth.
Right, we were still in our pre-show, in our pre-production meeting. It just wasn't worth it to try to catch up on that and watch that very first episode and give you guys our thoughts without really having any kind of time to digest it. So we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, and I mean, just a little behind the scenes, and as we also talked about before the show, neither one of us cared that much about watching it, but we're gonna do it anyway. Because we love you all, and
right. There's a reference here. It's a K-pop Demon Hunters reference that would be very apropos. But Roddykat still hasn't gotten around to watching it, so we'll wait to use that one.
Sure. So with that out of the way, we are going to get to actually a pretty, I personally think was a pretty great week in books, of which we are going to start talking about right now with G.I. Joe number 10.
Okay. G.I. Joe number 10 is published over at Image. It's written by Joshua Williamson with art by Andrea Milana, colors by Lee Luffridge, and letters by Russ Wooton. So we pick up basically where we left off in issue number 9 with the focus, one half of the story focused upon Major Blood with CoverGirl and the Baroness, with a little bit of Raptor thrown in, for goodness sake, Raptor, right? But that's one side of the story, basically. And the other side of the story is a continuing crossover with the Transformers book, focused upon our favorite Joe who drives a Jeep, right? And if you're not keeping up with G.I. Joe, the title right now, but you're familiar with the IP, then you know who I am referring to. And so, if you think about it, it's not that hard to think about which Transformer falls into this particular category. So, I guess which Transformer would be paired up with this character. So I got a kick out of this. I really enjoyed the characterization and the interplay between the Baroness and CoverGirl. You know, I understand why they're choosing to highlight CoverGirl. Yes, the character did get some shine, get more shine because of the movies, but I also understand. Right, but I also understand the reason why they are choosing to highlight other characters other than Scarlet, because Scarlet's in her own, title and is basically probably being held in reserve for being paired with one of the other characters who still has not made a big appearance in the G.I. Joe title, but, is kind of lurking in the wings, as it were. And I'll hand it off to Roddykat for his thoughts right now.
I was gonna say, yeah, actually, they never really gave CoverGirl any shine, that much shine, or with the exception of a couple of times in the show itself. So I guess they was like, you know what, we got all these other characters who really didn't get a moment, so why not give one to CoverGirl? And as far as what they did to her in the movie, yeah, that was a damn shame either way.
Right.
But that being said, so yeah, as Agent 70 said, I kind of want to use that Stephen Colbert soundbite of "Meanwhile." I might have to pull that one for, at least while we still have Colbert on the air. Anyway, but yeah, Major Blood still got his vendetta going on, his vendetta with the Baroness going on, and CoverGirl is in the midst of that. Yeah, they definitely have a time with that. Let's just say I don't want to give too much of it away as things go by. And yeah, the whole the funny thing that Agent 70 just said was like the Joe that's known for driving the Jeep. I was like, wait, is that all he's known for? I mean, granted, is another character who never really got that much of a, as far as I can remember, that much play in the cartoon that I could think of.
Right. Right. It's kind of you have to remember my reference is balanced with the comic book lore that was established within the first 50 issues.
Sure.
Right. That's kind of my limit on G.I. Joe comic book lore. The first 50 issues of the Marvel series is basically what I know. And so and the latter half of that run, I basically know because of the yearbooks, right? Because the yearbooks did a great job of summarizing everything, right? So that's what I know, and I know that this particular character had more shine in the comics.
Right. So that being the case, yeah, and as Agent 70 said, like I said, yeah, he's paired up with a particular Cybertronian, which that makes sense for the situation. But that's the duo maybe their plan to keep things covert may have been upended with what happened in this book, or at least with what they end up doing in this book as they decide to go snooping around for some more Cybertronian tech. With a tail in tow, who gets caught up in what happens, and also discovers.
Right, they all kind of get caught up. That's what ends up happening. And I didn't realize the note at the end of the issue places one of the Cobra characters into context that I did not remember or recognize.
Oh, did you from the letters page
from
stuff,
the movie?
Or?
Right, from the movie, right,
yeah.
Where that character is referenced from the movie. I did not know that coming in.
Yeah, I remember skimming the letters page, but I don't remember offhand what but also there was a couple of things in there, so I had to go back and check that out real quick. That being said, though, weirdly enough, a potential click of the week for me in a couple of them that I have in this week. We also have a little bit with Destro. While having some time with his lady friend that's not the Baroness.
Right, because that's not a part of the story.
Nah, not so much. And who knows whether that's they're going to do that. But he gets to say he's still kind of bug up about what the commander's hiding, and he kind of goes and kind of seeks that out, and to which he finds out or starts to find out a thing or two that we see, and where that's going to go next issue. We shall see. And also, Major Blood's not a poet. We found that out in this issue.
Yeah.
Not by far. But
He has no bars whatsoever.
None whatsoever. But he thinks of himself quite highly in respect. So as things going on his end of the thing. So yeah, go figure. But yeah, that all leads to a round two, and again, like we said, a revelation that we'll find out more about of both next issue. And with that, honestly, I should probably switch up the order of these two. Actually, I am going to switch up the order of these two real quick. But the next book that we are going to talk about is Black Cat number 5.
Short days, long nights.
Sorry.
Black Cat
number 1. Sorry, I said number 5.
Yes. Yeah, I know, but it's number 1 of 5.
Correct.
Right, so that's what I thought I heard, so I was going to read that part. Anyway, Black Cat number 1 of 5 is written by G. Willow Wilson, with art by Gleb Melnikov, colors by Brian Reber, and letters by our favorite lettering paisan, VC's Joe Caramagna. So the first caveat, and I've already told Roddykat this, because he's kind of on and off reading the current run of Amazing Spider-Man, the Joe Kelly run of Amazing Spider-Man. And I know that he's not quite up to date with what's going on in Amazing. The caveat here is that Black Cat, this miniseries, number 1 of 5, intersects with what's happening in the pages of the current run of Amazing Spider-Man. It's not necessarily a direct crossover, but it acknowledges what's happening in Amazing Spider-Man number 10 directly in these pages. And I'll tell you that sneak peek, slight spoiler, Black Cat does appear in the pages of Amazing Spider-Man number 10 in passing to kind of acknowledge that there is, like I said, an intersection of the two books, not necessarily a crossover, but kind of one, right? And so what we find here is Black Cat kind of doing her thing and running into some of the typical, some of the typical side effects of being a costumed character in Manhattan in the Marvel Universe, right? A lot of the characters cross over into, they cross paths with each other and find themselves in a particular common place looking for help, right? And that is kind of the centerpiece, the crux of what this story is about. But then, we kind of reach, I don't know if it's a come to Jesus moment or a moment of enlightenment for Felicia Hardy, but we kind of come to this point in the story in this issue where, the whole idea behind this limited series is kind of hatched. And at that point I'll hand it off to Roddykat for his thoughts on how we got here and where maybe this is going to go in the next 4 issues.
Well, yeah. So I guess the one thing to say is, yeah, it's kind of this book is already kind of amusing, because if you're thinking about it with what she comes to realize and what she feels like she wants to do, which granted comes from a kind of selfish reason, that sparks this miniseries, kind of has something to do with Amazing Spider-Man. Go figure. Right. And the current goings on of and their, I guess, their current, like I won't say relationship or lack thereof, or what they are to each other, basically, which always changes every decade or so. But right. that being the case, you get a little bit of Felicia talking to the audience in this, which was kind of amusing. You know, you get a pretty good Looney Tunes-esque chase scene. Well, at least in one particular panel, the chase scene that happens in this. Of course, a nice reference to another creator, a Spider-Man adjacent creator, which I don't know if he ever did. A Felicia story or a Felicia story or not. I'm not sure, but you know, there's a run-in that probably didn't necessarily need to happen, but for comedic sake and to kind of push this issue along, it does to some pretty decent effect. And yeah, you see some folks kind of hanging out late night at the urgent care, or at least at the Marvel Universe version of urgent care. And you see a menage of folks there, including a couple of animal-themed. I don't know this is a slight spoiler, but it's not a spoiler because it's just a panel in a book. There's a giraffe that shows up.
Right.
And I do not know, and I didn't look into who the hell that giraffe is. Talking to a well-known street-level hero, or let me rephrase that, being talked to by a well-known street-level hero that just so happens also to be there. And I'm like, who the heck is this dude? But there's also another animal-themed, some would say ne'er-do-well or Z-list character that has a frog in his throat. Right. What you were going to say? Sorry.
No. It's what I wanted to say is, what I wanted to mention is that there are a couple of characters that reappear that we were initially introduced to during Jed McKay's Black Cat series, multiple Black Cat series.
Correct.
So it's nice to see them back.
Yeah, actually, I had also had that in my notes as well. I was like, yeah, it's good to seeing the crew still around. But and also Felicia runs across another Spider-Man, sometimes adversary, which is a part of the story. So yeah, and of course she's going to run into a couple of other Spider-Man adjacent adversaries during the course of this whole miniseries because of what she believes that she needs to do, and apparently these folks spying on her, thinking, oh, well, we got to take this chance to do something we need to do, which I'm not sure why they're bothering with her, but hey, you know, it is what it is. But regardless, I enjoyed this issue. I always enjoyed reading a G. Willow Wilson book. Gleb Melnikov's art, especially with a couple of splash pages. The art was pretty choice.
It's fun. The art is fun.
Yeah. So,
you know,
so this was dare I say, another picture click of the week for me. I don't know if it's going to like make the cut, but hey, it's in there, like I said. But yeah, you should check out this book. You know, Jed McKay did some pretty great things with the character, and I feel I have trust in G. Willow Wilson, even though she's only got five issues to do something with this character. I trust that she's gonna make it as a pretty fun read. So,
right, definitely. I agree.
That being the case, we can move on to the next book that we have in common, which is Marvel All-in-One Thing versus the Thing versus the Marvel Universe #1 one-shot.
So this version of this one-shot of Marvel All-on-One, not All-in-One, because I wanted to type that when I was typing my notes.
And I did type that in, so that's my fault. So there you go. Yep.
All right. Marvel All-on-One #1, The Thing versus the Marvel Universe, is written by Ryan North with pencils by Ed McGuinness, inks by Mark Farmer, colors by Marcio Meniz, and letters by VC's Joe Caramagna, our favorite lettering paisan. So, we have in this issue a pretty interesting premise from the start, from jump, because we jump right into the action, right from Jump Street, where Ben Grimm is beset on all sides by what seems to be everyone turning on him, but it's quickly revealed that obviously it's not what it seems to be, but at the end of the day, it still proves to be a pretty overwhelming force put on display by none other than a very classic FF adversary. And I kind of had an inkling before I got to the page of the reveal, but it was one of those times when I was, just pleasantly surprised, even though I wasn't surprised, because in my mind I was like, well, it still could be this or this character, but yeah, of course it's this character.
Right.
So I got a kick out of that, and it was a fun one shot to read. What did you think?
I agree. I absolutely agree. So yeah, it was kind of also kind of funny because like at the start of this, it was like, okay, Ben's coming home after doing a solo mission, and I was thinking, okay, so is this after the recent miniseries that is still going on, or is this some other random time and place where he probably went on a solo mission, or this is probably set back when he had a solo book? Also, this could very well, because we don't necessarily, well, we have an idea of the time frame that they could be going with, but since there are so many people that kind of come into play, you don't necessarily have the full sense of it, but you can kind of place it in a place. But there's a couple of them that probably wouldn't make sense during this whole time frame. But it doesn't really matter, because like I said, it all goes into a whole bit of fun. And it's kind of funny to where the person that is behind the words, which as Agent 70 said, was like, yo, okay, of course this is it. Because as I was reading, I was like, this could go a couple of different ways. I actually wasn't even thinking about this character, but again, like Agent 70 said, I was like, yep, that makes total sense. It makes absolute sense. And his reasonings was actually, normally this character is usually an agent of chaos. And in this case kind of was, but well-meaning this actual time. You could almost go so far as to say that if this person was, his person's intention was to give an adventure that could have possibly have been reminiscent of something that you could possibly cook up in the Marvel the Marvel RPG that is currently out right now. Like, granted, it's a little heavy-handed with, or at least the way they painted it, like they had so much of it kind of going on that was supposed to happen, that could have possibly happened. So you might as well say he was the dungeon master in this little adventure that Ben totally just upended, basically. But like I said, this whole thing was a very fun read, and I enjoyed it. And even the reveal of who was behind it and why was so great to see. So it was it made the whole read that much better. Again, another potential Kliq of the week. I think it's not gonna be too many times I'm gonna say this, so don't worry about it. But but yeah, I really, really enjoyed reading this one shot. So it was
nice.
really good.
Nice.
Yeah, that was it for that one. So the next one that we have in common, and I believe is the last book that we have in common. Yes, it is. Imperial number 3 of.
Alrighty. So Imperial number 3 of 4, right? And that's what's wild about this. There's only 4 issues of this. It's written by Jonathan Mumbo Jumbo Hickman. Thank you for that. Thank you, Tim Dog 98. Tim Adams for that. Art by Iban Coelho and Federico Vicentini. Colors are by Federico Blee. Letters are by both VC's Corey Petit and VC's Ariana Mar. The reason why I stress that this is Imperial 3 of 4 is that this is a 4-part story. And it's a 4-part, there's 4 acts to this, right? Not 3, but 4. So this is the penultimate act, and we're getting a lot of reveals in this issue. We're getting a lot of progress in the story. We're getting a lot of characters moving, and essentially, and this is really kind of a riff on the story, we're getting a lot of pieces on the chessboard moving and making moves and taking positions. And I really enjoyed some of the characters that were revealed to be taking certain positions in this issue. And I was telling Roddykat, and I'll hand it off with this, is that it almost feels like this is kind of a bookend to the Infinity event that Hickman also wrote. I hate to say back in the day because it doesn't feel like that was that long ago, but it actually has been.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of and maybe not a bookend because that implies a beginning and an ending, but definitely a next step or another chapter of the story that Hickman kind of told in Infinity. So with that, I'll hand it off to Roddykat.
Yeah, as Agent 70 said, this was basically the info dump of this this whole series, and we got revelations. We got explanations and revelations as to how things came wrong. Who the other person that the Grandmaster, who obviously was a part of this, is a part of it, but it's not who people had theorized, or some people had theorized it to be. In fact, honestly,
right, it's not who you think.
Exactly. And
shout out to Madison.
That's exactly Madison with a Y. Not exactly.
That's right.
But yeah, so this was probably one of the last people I would have initially thought of to be the one that was playing against. And once that was revealed, I'm like, okay, so what are their machinations going to be in getting all this? And they went into all that, so which we're not going to get into. The other surprise was the fact that who showed up with them, which was, as Agent 70 said, was a great surprise to see, because it was a character that hasn't been utilized in quite a while. Well, with the exception of a recent book that I'll talk about, but who still wasn't in, or at least a version of that was utilized in a book that I'm reading that I'll talk about in a little bit, but didn't show up in. But yeah, with the revelation and the explanations of what's going on here, I was like, okay, so, and as Andrew Sanders said, this book does definitely set up. It definitely set up at least one book that is coming. That we'll talk about later on in the news, and probably starts to set up the other books that have already been, or some of the other books that have already been announced that we know that are coming down the line in fairly soon, actually, now that I think about it. But with all of that, and a couple of people was like, where is this person been, and when did they even come out? Because there's a name that I could say, and I already know the answer to it because I looked it up, but there's a name that pops up in here that was like, I thought that character was taken care of back during a certain invasion that also gets kind of slightly name checked here in this. Right. So this issue kind of pulled together a whole bunch of things in this. And as I told Agent 70, and I said in my notes, this was a well-crafted book, but not surprised because it's Hickman. So,
right.
But it's like, okay, as
all the mumbo jumbo,
right? but actually, not crazy with it, like what happened during the Krakoan era, but still, as I think we even said it. We even said it in the first issue. I was about to say it's streamlined
because there are only 4 issues.
Right. And
that's why I was really stressing. Right. I was really stressing the fact that this is like a 4-part story.
Right. And as I said, I think I said when the first issue it's in bite-sized chunks of mumbo jumbo. Mm-hmm. So streamlined is another way you could also say it as well. So that being said, though, I'm looking forward to the next issue, obviously, to see kind of what is how this part ends up and what that sets the cosmic part of the galaxy into being after this issue, because like you said, we know there's other books coming that's going to still play that, but this is pretty much setting setting all that up for the Cosmic Park to kind of still have some things going on while everything else in the universe is going on, or I guess whatever happens in the X corner or whatever. Regardless, that is Imperial number 3 or 4. Oh, also, Agent 7 brought this up in the pre-show. Like, there is a character here that should be somewhere. Technically 2 in the story, but 1 that shows up here. That has shown up here. But there's like a couple of characters that are in different places on Earth, basically. So how in the world could they be here? But
they're literally fighting a galactic war. You know?
Right. So as we pretty much settled on, it's pretty much that slippery timeline. So we don't know, because we don't actually know when this is set in relation to other books or anything else. So,
Rubber band, slippery, all of the euphemisms for how Marvel treats, like, God bless the person who needs to put this into like an official Marvel handbook, right?
Or a timeline type of situation, or a grand
situation.
That'll be interesting. But I'm sure maybe someone at Marvel probably, as far as I know, they do have something like that going on in the offices somewhere. Or at least that's the rumors I've heard, but I don't know.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised. And I'll tell you that Imperial number 3 is definitely a strong candidate for Click of the Week for me.
Yep. Same here, if I didn't already say that. And I probably did. But that, folks, ends all the books that we have in common. Rapid fire.
All right, rapid fire review time, folks. Here it comes.
I ain't got time to bleed.
Alrighty, first up for me is Absolute Batman number 11, published by DC Comics. It's written by Scott Snyder with guest art by Clayman, with colors by Ivan Placencia, and letters by Clayton Cowles. This is the ongoing story of Bane's introduction into the mythos of the Absolute Batman. And he's just as deadly, just as dangerous, just as a match, if not more, for Batman in the Absolute universe as he is in the regular mainstream DC universe. And the twists that this story takes are very interesting. I'm looking to see how this is going to play out going forward, because there are some pretty, let's just say, gruesome changes to what happens basically in this version of their big showdown, of their big confrontation, as compared to their big showdown from Batman from the Nightfall crossover back in the 90s, right? So I'm willing to see what goes on. I was pretty shocked to see the events of this issue. Definitely a candidate for Click of the Week also, because I still think, even though it's not Nick Dragotta, it's a pretty well-crafted story art-wise, with really good storytelling by Clayman. Next up is Superman Unlimited number 4, also published by DC. Is written by Dan Slott, with art by Lucas Meyer and Raphael Albuquerque. He needed to take that left turn at Albuquerque. And colors by Marcelo Manolo and Matt Herms, with letters by Dave Sharp. So what I told Roddykat about this book is that Dan Slott is having a lot of fun. This is a Dan Slott book all the way. There's an element of whimsy to this Superman. It's, I think, a more fun Superman that is certainly related to the current continuity, but there is a definite tone that is lighter, but definitely welcome for Superman and the characters that surround him. So, I'm going to stick with the Superman book for a little while longer. It's pretty good. Next up for me is all new Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider number 1. It's written by Stephanie Phillips, with art by Paolo Vianelli, colors by Matt Mia, and letters are by VC or Matt Miller. Letters are by VC's Ariana Mar. So now we have the brand new Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider book that is the that springs out of the aftermath of Gwen having pretty cosmic abilities. There's one particular development here that I'm kind of curious to see how they play, and how that affects the OG Spider-Man and his life going forward. It's not a huge thing. It's definitely not like let's just say it's one of the more fundamental characters being reinserted into play, but it's still not like the basis of like the character's personality and development. Like you kind of understand who I'm referring to when I'm talking about Spider-Man, but it's still a pretty foundational character. And when you see when you see what possibilities might come up as the result of this character being reinserted into the story, it kind of beggars the question, like, I wonder how this is going to play out when Peter, gets wind of this. So, but it's definitely interesting. I'm a big fan of the Spider-Gwen character. I always have been. I'm not so sure about the tweaks to the costume, but I understand why, because they have to make more action figures. Because the original costume is one of the best pieces of design work, shout out to Robbie Rodriguez, that Marvel has put out in many, many years. And so I understand they needed to switch it up just a little bit, just to give Spider-Gwen a little bit more of a, like another new variant action figure. All right. Next up is, oh no, that's it. That's it. Everything else I have in common with Roddykat. You're up.
Amazing.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know why I skipped over Amazing? Because I felt like we already talked about it when I talked about Black Cat. So, Amazing Spider-Man number 10 is written by Joe Kelly with guest art by Michael Dowling, colors by Marte Gracia, and letters again by our favorite lettering python, VC's Joe Caramagna. So, as I mentioned earlier, and that's why I blanked on reviewing this particular book, because I thought I had spoken about it already, because it does in fact intersect with this week's number 1 issue of the 5-issue limited series Black Cat. Amazing Spider-Man number 10 picks up right where we left off in the last issue, with the aftermath of Spidey's fight with Hellgate and some really kind of classic, but a different spin on a classic tailspin that Peter might be on as the result of kind of getting his butt handed to him by a character. It happens. It's not the first time we've seen this happen to Peter. It's not the first writer to kind of mine this particular character trait, where, or let's just say, not necessarily a character trait, but definitely a way of dealing with things that Peter is not foreign to, right? He may not go into a tailspin, or he may not kind of descend into madness, as it were, but let's say he kind of takes a darker path. And it's interesting to see Joe Kelly decide to go this route in Amazing at this point. And what we've got here, again, kind of a variant action figure style, but it's almost like a play on the Scarlet Spider / Ben Reilly, whereas some of the equipment he's using is very Ben Reilly-esque. So with that, I will hand it off to Roddykat and say that, yeah, it's an interesting twist that Kelly's taking. It's not unfamiliar, but it's an interesting, play on this particular direction Peter sometimes has taken in the past when he has to cope with kind of getting his butt handed to him, and that's it for me.
Would you say that he's spiraling?
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. That's what I was searching for the word, and I was blanking on it. That's why I used the term that I used.
Gotcha. Also, would you say that Clayman has a clay face? Okay, crickets. Here we go. Space Ghost.
I'm like, no. Why would that come up? Okay.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Somebody out there will laugh at that. Anyway, Space Ghost and Johnny Quest Space Quest number 404 is my first book. Written by actually Joe Casey. Art by Sebastian Perez. Colors by Lorenzo Scaramella. And letters by Taylor Esposito. So yeah, this is the last issue of this crossover with these characters. And it cleans up at least one thing from the last volume of Johnny Quest's book, from a thing that kind of ended up in their possession that they probably should not have had. So that was interesting, the way they took care of that. Which not surprising because Joe Casey wrote that whole thing. So I guess he wanted to take care of it before to get into the next arc of the book. But yeah, so we left with Space Ghost with Johnny and Haji because of a transference thing that happened in the first issue, and Dr. Quest meets up with Jan, Jason, Blip. And also, Bandit was with Johnny and Haji, of course, like it normally is. But that has been put back together because everybody was back in their prospective spots. And in fact, and there was a meeting of everyone before the goodbyes and the potential, it doesn't necessarily set up for another meeting going forward, but who knows what could happen, hell, Johnny Quest already had a time adventure in the future, and that's, I don't think ever actually happened to him previously, ever, unless that happened in one of the older books. I don't know. But, now he's gone into outer space, met Space Ghost, and again, which granted, this has nothing to do with what DC did with these characters a few years back, so none of that plays into this because it's a different company doing things. But it was a pretty good read, regardless. Seeing the characters kind of interact with the other in a totally different side of the same universe, basically, and actually technically. Well, actually, I don't know about technically time frame, but I don't know when Space Ghost is set, in relation to the quests. But regardless, hey, if the meeting of these characters or the re-meeting of these characters is something you might think you might be interested in, you might be, because it was actually a nice fun read. There you go. Let's see. Next up. I don't have the soundbite, so I'll put that in post. Thundercats Lost, number 5, written by Ed Brisson, art by Dave Acosta, colors by Rashawn. Oops, I forgot something. Put the book up. Let's see, written by Ed Brisson, art by Dave Acosta, colors by Rashawn Curiciano, and letters by Jeff Eckleberry. Potential click of the week. For me. Why, you may ask? Well, wait, Age of 7, you're not reading this book, or you had not read this book, correct? Or you haven't caught up with this book? So I think
I have not. I thought about it. The only knowledge I have on it right now is what you tell me, because I know that there are links to the current Thundercats volume. So, but I do have it. It's just a matter of me reading it.
Yeah, and speaking of links to the current the current issues of Thundercats, that is definitely all spelled out here, because we get, so in the beginning of the series, something happens to the person that shows up in that's the main crux of this issue, and who shows up in recent issues of Thundercats. It was originally thought that this person was not amongst the living, based on what happened to this book, based on what happens to them in the first issue of this book. In fact, I am going to put up a slight spoiler for anybody who cares to check this book out outside of age of 70, because I'm pretty sure he's read this much. But, you know, if you're watching the video version, you can see what actually happened in the first issue of Thundercats Lost. Well, in true comic book or cartoon fashion, it's like, you know, I don't know if folks remember when cartoons would be on the air, and especially the more action ones would go to break on a cliffhanger. But when they come back, the same scene would happen, but slightly changed just a bit, so it doesn't look like it like what happened before it went to the break happened, or it doesn't happen in the way that it looked like it before it went to the break. Well, something like that happened here in this book, because if you saw the image that I just put up, the same incident kind of happened, but they switched it up just a little bit. In fact, this is going to be a slight spoiler for anybody, so I would apologize, but look away now for the next 10 seconds. When this happened in this book, in the beginning, to explain what happens to this character. That being said, the issue goes on to say what happened to this character after the events of the first book, and how they basically got to where they are in the current Thundercats book. In fact, the last page of the book ends right before what happened in the last issue, or the issue before the last issue of the Thundercats main book, when the character was found. And so you get here's where this character's been, here's what he kind of, what he does in the midst of that, and there's even the time frame of how long it took him to get from here to there. And as we talked about last week when we talked about things, Thundercats, it's definitely been a length of time from when this book started until when the character showed up in the Thundercats book, and it being chronicled in this issue. Also gets a little bit of a connection with the Thundercats Apex book, especially with something that happens in particular in that book that gets referenced in this particular issue, and a little bit with Thundercats Chitara, but also some stuff that kind of popped that was mentioned in this book, which was also mentioned in the last Thundercats book we talked about. So it's all now it is all connected in a way that kind of sort of makes some sense. Because we weren't really sure where this book sat time-wise in relation to Thundercats, the main book, and didn't think it was even going to connect to that Apex one-shot book, which apparently it is, because thanks to something that is referenced in this issue that happened in that issue. So, yeah, they are clearly thinking about the whole connections that their books have in common, and are definitely using them forthwith. So that fake out that I popped up aside, that because even coming into this book, they were like, not everybody's going to make it, and we thought that was actually the case with what happened in the first issue, and come to find out that they retconned it in this particular issue, that it didn't happen the way that it clearly shows in that first issue. So that might be a thing to bump on, but again, like I said, in true cartoon fashion, when things happen the way they happen on before the break and after the break, it happened here. So yeah, and also, like I said, at the end of this book, like I said, it attaches back to the last issue of the issue before last of Thundercats, and that's where this character is going. And next month, when this book comes back, or whenever this book's come back, they're going to get back to the rest of the team, which is out there basically following up on things that this character did for them in this that they found out last issue. So therein lies that. Next up, though, I know that was a little bit longer than I had intended to take for that book, but you know, it all comes together. Ultimate Black Panther number 19 is my next book, written by former guest of the show Brian Hill, art by Carlos Nieto, color artist David Curiel, and letters by VC's Jory Pettit. So, the Sorcerer Supreme of the Ultimate Universe is advising, as I say in my notes, the somehow new king of Wakanda. I don't think he's actually king, but he's sure wearing the raiment while T'Challa's not around, thanks to Okoye. But the Sorcerer Supreme, while advising him, kind of like, hey, you know what? In my world, things kind of happen like this, and if you want to get some information, you're gonna have to do some things that that T'Challa wouldn't do. And so apparently that ends up happening. Some information has been told to another character, that character being Okoye. But meanwhile, T'Challa was kind of having a chat with one of the vibranium spirits called the Progenitor, and that chat didn't go quite so well. But it went so well to where he kind of had to have some intervention with the spirit that is the deity that is known to be around the Black Panther folk. Let's just say, for reasons that also kind of sort of get spelled out in the last few pages of this book, but also leads into what's going to happen next for this book, which is, what T'Challa is going to end up doing or having to do to kind of rectify a couple of situations going on right now. The next book that I have is Vision and Scarlet Witch number 4 of 5, written by Steve Orlando, art by Jacobo Kamanyi, color artist Ruth Redman, and letters by VC's Travis Lanham. Excuse me. There we go. So yeah, as I say in my notes, the Grim Reaper is poking at Wanda and Vision, and they poked back while they're trapped in this, I guess, pocket universe that the Grim, or that whoever hired the or whoever owns the Grim Reaper has set up, and which has the Grim Reaper also scared. But apparently, we get to see who is behind what the Grim Reaper is doing at the end of this issue. And it's not who I thought it was, honestly, because I thought it was someone that Wanda who's been looking for a couple of volumes of her book at this point. But apparently that is not the case. So there you go. But apparently, if you go back a good bit, you might know this entity. I don't recall right off the bat, but someone might. Next up, New Avengers number 3, written by Sam Humphries, with art by Tun Lima, color artist Rain Barreto, and letters by VC's Joe Sabino. So we have Wolverine, aka Lara. I can't remember Lara's last name, but regardless, that version of Wolverine that is narrating because she's on the team, who go after the Hulk. Which, if you think back to what I said about another book that Agent 70 had in comic book, is somewhere else. But the version of the Hulk that is here and is in the Hulk's version, the Hulk's book proper, I think is this version, as opposed to the one that shows up in that other book. So, but the team has to go in and extract some information from the mind behind the mind that's originally behind the Hulk. Y'all know who that is. While trying to track down these Illuminati clones, to exact some justice. They also get blessed by an original Avenger, so making this book, I guess, a quote unquote official Avengers book, as opposed to what tends to happen is like you might have the Avengers name in the title, but it's not necessarily a real Avengers team. I guess. But and I'm sure there's probably going to be some articles on like he didn't bless them, so therefore it is real, type situation. Also, the question comes up is how the Bucky even knows about what's going on in the pages of Incredible Hulk at this moment, which I have not been keeping up with. But there you go. But yeah, they end up squaring off against one of the other clones, but a couple of other ones are kind of in the wings, and one actually shows up to kind of cause them havoc at the end. And Lara Wolverine kind of feels herself in the beginning because of her squaring up with the Hulk, which was kind of funny during the whole thing. Also, they get a new member of the team in the version of a symbiote who apparently a version of the symbiote that apparently is running around who is not the person who think it is underneath the symbiote, but also has had ties to symbiotes in the past. So I guess it still kind of makes sense, but I have not been reading any of those books with symbiotes in it, so I would not have known this person was running around with this version of the symbiote. Go figure. So therein lies that. And also Grouches of the Galaxy. That was kind of funny, and I appreciate that. Sam Humphries. But that's also the clone Xavier says a thing that is kind of something similar to what the actual Professor X would say, and that was also kind of funny. So Sam Humphries was kind of having some fun with this book, and I appreciate it. And that, folks, is it for my books. Kliqs of the week.
Kliqs of the week.
Oh yeah.
I think I've got mine. How about you?
I'm still kind of I have my top two definitely, but I've also mentioned a few others. What you got?
Imperial number 3 of 4.
That would be in my top two, actually. That is definitely in my top two.
Right. I mean, I definitely enjoyed the all new Spider-Gwen, the Ghost Spider, with some caveats. I definitely enjoyed Absolute Batman because, it just went in a pretty bonkers direction. And I like the whimsy behind Superman Unlimited number 4. And, kind of in the same vein, the whimsy in Black Cat number 1 also. So, there were some good books out this week, but I think the standout was Imperial number 3.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. For myself, yeah, Black Cat was definitely in that number. G.I. Joe was also in that number for me as well.
And are the Saints marching in?
Very funny.
Right. No, it's just very funny that Roddykat was like, it's this isn't that number and this isn't that number, and the Saints go marching.
I was there. He couldn't get my Clayman joke, but he's got that one. Marvel All in One, The Thing versus the Marvel Universe was also a really good read, as we talked about earlier. I think that was it though for all of my picks. Yeah, Thundercats Lost was also in that, but that's not going to. I already can tell you that I'm definitely not going to make it. But I definitely the info that came out in there kind of put some things in line. Space Ghost Johnny Quest also good, but that's not in there either way. So it's for me, it's kind of out of Black Cat and Imperial, and Marvel All in One. So, and now that Agent 70 has mentioned the fact that Imperial is his, which I'm not that surprised about, because again, that great a book, that frees me up to go elsewhere with
to zag. To zag.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm thinking I'm going to go with so that still leaves Marvel All in One and Black Cat though for me. So, I thought you was gonna pull up the Jeopardy thing onto like you normally do, but that would not be the one I thought you would have.
Because it's still in my head.
I got you. You know what? I'm not gonna do the thing that was like I'm gonna split the difference. I'm not gonna do that. Marvel All-In won the thing, and I got it up on the
You beat it.
I felt it was coming. Marvel All-On one, excuse me, the thing versus the Marvel Universe #1 one-shot is my click, and it was already on screen anyway. So, but yeah, definitely check out Black Cat because, you know, like I said, love me some G. Willow Wilson, and that book is actually was a pretty great read. So,
there you go.
That being the case, we are going to go into the news, but first, an ad read.
Our first ad read of the night is for Blue Apron's meal delivery service. Blue Apron, fresh ingredients and incredible recipes delivered weekly to your door. Skip the grocery store and make incredible meals at home with Blue Apron, always shipped free right to your home. And now the listeners of the Comic Book Chronicles can get $30 off your first Blue Apron order. To place your first order with $30 off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us, that's cspn.us, then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down to the Blue Apron link and sign up for your first order. Blue Apron through cspn.us. Do it today. And now we get into the news.
Cinematic news has been due about this time, and I should not have done the thing that I just did. In fact, there were two things I did that I should not have just done. That's
vehicle misconception is that electric vehicles are not fun to.
All right, that's gonna get cut out. Thanks. But yeah, cinematic news. Deadpool Mania reignited by Ryan Reynolds' Avengers tease. Elektra Netflix surge. I don't know what that means. That last part means, but yeah. So apparently, Ryan Reynolds has been out there on the Instagrams, kind of teasing. I mean, if you're watching the video version, you can see the tease right there. There's the Avengers logo with another scribbled on A on top of it. So there you go. But yeah, Reynolds posted a cryptic image that I just mentioned on Instagram with the thing that I just mentioned, hinting, according to this article, at the potential return for Deadpool. The post arrived on the heels of, well, nothing, as this article says. So, and then it goes into numbers of the most recent movies that Marvel's done, and notes that the roster of people coming into Avengers Doomsday is currently 25 actors deep, but Ryan Reynolds hasn't come up on the list at all. So, this article asks, what is he teasing? But I feel like he's just doing a Deadpool thing, and just kind of put it out there. Whether it's actually a thing that's actually going to pay off in a movie, which at this point probably could, or just whatever, just kind of keeping the fires burning. Then yeah. Next up, and I don't know. I was looking at this Elektra thing, but it's basically talk about. I think I have not seen Deadpool or Wolverine, so I assume Jennifer Garner's Elektra showed up in that, and kind of putting that within some teasers also in this article.
What are you waiting for? Just watch it.
I don't know, because I don't care about those movies, except for the first one. Next up, though.
Alan Cumming was happy to get a do-over playing Nightcrawler in Avengers Doomsday. He said so in a recent interview with People. The Traitors host said it was really healing to return to the role of the teleporting mutant after having a terrible time during his first pass as the character in 2003's, good lord, 2003's X2.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Cummings said it was amazing. It was actually really in a sort of ooey gooey way. It was really healing and really nice to go back to something that was a terrible experience when he did it the first time. A great film, great film. He loves the film. Okay. Cumming added that filming X2 with defamed director Bryan Singer was miserable and awful for a variety of reasons that he has talked about at length. However, filming Doomsday has been the complete opposite experience for the Emmy winner. Good for him.
I didn't think people still remember that Singer stuff. That's good. Somebody brought it up. Anyway,
He lived it. So I'm not surprised that he can still recite it, cite to it.
right. Next up, though, Pink. We need to call Korath out of his dressing room for this one because Tramell Tillman joins Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Okay, here we go. You don't know who that is?
I know I do not.
I do. That's why I didn't instinctively go to it. I'll play it for you, but I know who Tramell Tillman is.
Okay.
Who?
So let's see. Details on Tillman's character remains under wraps, of course, but he'll join the rest of the crew in that, along with everybody else who's been cast, apparently. Let's see.
Right.
Right. Then here's where Agent 7 knows who he is. Tillman currently stars as Self Milchick in the award-winning Apple TV Plus series Severance.
He was in Severance, and recently he was in the most recent Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah, it mentions that also.
Right. But I definitely know him from Severance, and he's great in Severance.
Yeah, apparently he received an Emmy nom for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Dramatic Role, and a couple other noms other places. So cool. Okay, nice. Next up though. Oh, there we go. You got it? Or...
1 second. No, I was just looking at the actual story. Star Wars Jedi Survivor Hero is finally coming to a Star Wars TV show. Oh boy. I was about to say there's at least one person who's happy about this. The one person I saw cosplaying as this character at San Diego Comic-Con. Cal Kestis is set to make his first appearance outside of the Star Wars Jedi games, but maybe not in the way you might expect. Let's see here. Cameron Monaghan will reprise his role in an unexpected way by appearing in Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy Pieces of the Past. As reported by Star Wars' official site, Monaghan will be joined by a very large voice cast that includes original trilogy actors Mark Hamill, Anthony Daniels, and Billy D. Williams. Billy D. Williams hitting on women. I'm sorry. Returning to their roles as Luke Skywalker, C-3PO, and Lando Calrissian. Let's see. The first season of Rebuild the Galaxy featured a mashup of many different eras in the Star Wars timeline, yada, yada, yada. So Cal is missing from the trailer that is on this website. It does show several well-known and returning characters. Okay.
Yeah, there are a surprising number of Cal Kestis fans out there, but I have not. I know who he is from the couple of video games, but I've never played the video games. And I've definitely seen people like, yeah, he should be in some other stuff. Da, 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 da. I'm like, I guess. But hey, shouts out to the dude because he's come a long way from Gotham, which is where I first found out about dude. But anywho's, Hulu app is to be phased out as Disney is, quote, fully integrating service into Disney Plus. If you have been on Disney Plus, you have noticed the dearth of Hulu stuff that is in there, but not quite everything because they still want you to pay for Hulu. There was also rumors that it was basically Hulu was going to get folded into Disney Plus and swallowed up, and it's just going to be Disney Plus, but I don't think that's going to happen yet. Or this could be the way into that. So it says, Say ciao to the standalone Hulu streaming app. Disney says it's fully integrated, like I said. A new unified Disney Plus and Hulu streaming app will be available in 2026, the company said. According to a Disney rep, the customers will still be able to buy a standalone Hulu subscription as well as a standalone Disney Plus subscription because they're still going to try to get money off of both ends.
Of course.
Quote is, today we are announcing a major step forward in strengthening our streaming offering by fully integrating. Just swallow it up and put it under this Hulu Plus. I mean, Disney Plus. Quit being greedy. God damn it. But we know that's not going to happen. But it's
they're going to wait. You know what it is? They're going to wait for the next season of The Bear to come out.
You really think that's their reasoning? Okay.
No, but the point is, but that's when they're really going to, there's going to be some catalyst for pushing everyone to go under one umbrella.
I mean, I'm waiting for them to get to the one umbrella because there's stuff on Hulu that I would like to see, but I'm not paying for Hulu for it. So, but anyway, that quote came from CEO Bob Iger and CFO Hugh Johnston, said in a prepared commentary on the media giant's quarterly earnings, because of course it came from there. The other quote is, this will create an impressive package of entertainment, pairing the highest caliber brands and franchises, great general entertainment, family programming, news, and industry-leading live sports content in a single app. Sure. It goes on from there, but we're not going to with that article. You can read that for yourself in the show notes. What up, Von Gloom?
How are you doing, Von Gloom?
So my eyes closed for a minute and I missed most of the show. Yeah, it's fine. You didn't, you just missed us talking about books. We just got into the news. So, but always good.
Listen, it happens, man. You got to get that sleep. You got to get that sleep. It's vital.
Right, especially the way you work. So, I understand them days. I totally do. But next up, oh, good that you got this one.
1 second. Because I'm literally reading up on this article about Hulu and Disney Plus combining, because that's kind of an issue for me right now. So, alrighty. Disney to re-release. Let's see. I'm queuing up the right sound drop. Disney set to re-release Hamilton film with new footage and a special screening. On August 5th, Hamilton creator Lin-Manuel Miranda went on The Tonight Show to announce that the Disney Pro shot of the hit musical will be released in movie theaters September 5th. But that's not all. Disney has also announced that this new theatrical release will include a special Reuniting the Revolution prologue, new interviews with the original cast and creators as they reflect on the impact the show has had on their lives. Hamilton is currently celebrating its 10th anniversary on Broadway.
Awesome. Wow.
There we go.
Yes. Still haven't gotten my wife to watch this yet, but it's fine. But yeah, that's cool for that whole lot, and I know the original cast has gone on to other things, so that's all. It's good to see that they can get back for this one. Star Trek's decade-long movie drought might be over. So, let's see, it goes into the Paramount Plus stuff. So, but yeah, they mentioned that there hasn't been a Star Trek movie since Justin Lin's 2016 Star Trek Beyond. Apparently, according to this article, it says that could change soon, where Skydance Media CEO David Ellison said at a press event celebrating the $8 billion Paramount Skydance merger that he intends to double down on theatrical release movies, including ones based on Star Trek. And actually, I'm going to take the next article. Actually the next two articles because they're all related.
Nap time.
But yeah, Star Trek stuff's going to be done, but also mentions Transformers, which is also going to get so we'll just flip over to that one right there. So yeah, Top Gun was also a big earner for Top Gun 3 was also a big earner for them. Apparently World War Z was dropped in the course of this press event also. So I guess they're going to continue to do some stuff like with that. I did not know that this David Ellison person was was related to a video game, a person, the founder of Annapurna, is his mom. So that's interesting. So, Nepo baby. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so apparently G.I. Joe was also name dropped in this, as to possibly getting back to form into theaters and Terminator. So yeah, look forward to seeing all of those franchises getting potentially new things going forward. But in the middle of that, there was also a thing about Simon Pegg, who played Scotty in the Star Trek, the Kelvin stuff, said that he wrote a Star Trek spinoff about Jayla, who was from Star Trek Beyond, coincidentally. Apparently, yeah, that he worked out the plan to follow up Beyond that focused on the character, and he was, talking about that, I guess, at a Star Trek convention, and going on that. I'm not even going to go into his quote, but basically, talks about Beyond underperforming and his plans for the spinoff movie with this character, who folks liked, and and it goes into some other stuff that has to do with Beyond and what have you. So yeah, that's that, folks. Next up, some sad news.
Righto! I unfortunately get the sad news, which is, what are you gonna do, right? Actor Terence Stamp, right, who made his name as an actor in 1960s London and went on to play the arch villain General Zod in the Hollywood hit Superman and Superman 2, has died at age 87, his family announced on Sunday. So yeah, that's generally how most of us know Terence Stamp, as General Zod. He has a whole slew of credits, a very big body of work. So, this is probably the one time it's acceptable to kneel before Zod.
I'm glad you said that.
Pay your respects.
I'm glad you said that because...
Come to me, son of Jor-El! Kneel before Zod!
Okay.
There you go. Rest in peace. There you go. Rest in peace, Zod. Rest in peace. Next up, though, actually, I can get rid of that real quick. But Family Matters star Bryton James, that name may or may not be familiar to you, but reveals the plan for an animated reboot of Family Matters with the original cast, which is still floating around. The idea for the plan, not the not the cast, because we know they're still around. So yeah, you might remember that name, Bryton James. He was Little Richie.
Oh, I do not remember the name. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you skip a story?
I did not. No. The last one was, or at least I don't think I did. Hold on. Now you got me questioning. I did skip a story, actually. I'll do both of them.
Okay.
So, but yeah. So, yeah, he's trying to float an idea for an animated Family Matters, apparently he has been, I did not know he was still acting, but apparently he's been on the Young and the Restless recently, and the show that I know about, Beyond the Gates, which is another soap opera of recent. I don't remember seeing him on that show, but okay, but yeah, apparently he's. And I know they've been planning a crossover, so maybe that's what that is. But regardless, good to see that he was still working, and he's trying to do this thing to try to get the Family Matters thing back up, even if it is in a animated way. So if that happens, I guess we'll find out. We shall see. But yeah, the other article that I did skip over was Charisma Carpenter addresses rumors that she will appear in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot. But she says in this article, no. She is not in the reboot. She's not in the pilot. She doesn't even know if the show's been picked up to go to series. She assumes it will be. But she was on some podcast that when she said all of this. So who's to say? But I think her character, well, it doesn't matter because her character got killed later on in a different show. That is a Buffy spinoff, but that has nothing to do with this reboot because it's still set, I would assume. Or maybe that's actually not, because they were kind of side by side. Regardless, she doesn't sound like she's not in it, or at this point, and yeah, therein lies that. Now then, back to where we are with the next story, which is the Archie book. It's the Archie one.
Right. I can't read this one because it cuts off because you have to have an account to keep reading it.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, please.
Okay. A film based on Archie comics is in developments at Universal with Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. You know those two. This is according to the Wrap, so it could still be a rumor because I believe this is a rumor site. Tom King is set to write the screenplay. Lord Miller, President Aditya Sood, Emma Watts, and Archie CEO John Goldwater will also produce, with Lord Miller's EVP and head of film Lucy Katada executive producing. The quote is, "We are longtime fans of Archie, Veronica, Betty, and the gang in all of their iterations. When we heard Tom King's take on this classic material," I did not know Tom King did an Archie book.
Exactly. I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want to read it, because I could see everything up to a certain point, and then there had to be some more information on Tom King's take on these characters.
Right. But yeah, it says, when we heard Tom King's take on the classic material, we instantly thought it made sense as an event movie for all audiences, both longtime fans and a whole new generation, Lord Miller said in a statement. "We're so excited to bring these beloved characters to the big screen. Plot details are being kept under wraps, but the news of the film notably comes just after Riverdale went off the air, blah, blah, blah." And talks about what what various folks have been doing. I think we pretty much know what most of these folks, what these folks involved have been doing. Very notable folks. So
I was about to say, you know what they're not doing is the next Spider-Verse.
Well, no, they aren't. That's messed up. It's sad but true, but yeah, no, they're still working on that. But yeah, just it's just taking longer than it should. Well, that's funny. Actually, I was about to say some have blamed K-pop Demon Hunters in a roundabout way for that, but I don't think that
because it was too successful, and now they're trying to rush it into production.
That might have something to do with it, but no, I mean, but we know that the last Spider-Verse movie has been, kind of been delayed, and works for a while, so it may or may not have anything to do with that. We don't know. Either way, next up.
After a rocky time with HBO Max, the Looney Tunes have found a home on an ad-supported free streaming service as of Friday. 789 short films from the early days of the franchise can now be streamed on Tubi. I got to make sure I have that installed. Tubi is starting to become something of a home for Bugs and Daffy. The newly available shorts join the 2010s The Looney Tunes Show, the Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries, and Tom and Jerry Chuck Jones collection on the streamer. Okay.
So I know we talked about this exact thing before, but there was a couple of other notables the Chuck Jones collection. No, I guess that was also in that anyway. But yeah, Tubi is kind of making itself out to be something, because I just found out that a show, or at least a notable show for me, New York Undercover is supposedly on there, but I have not checked to see that for myself. But I heard in a way that's on it. And I used to love that show because I used to especially love the musical guests, and I found out it's on it. So Tubi's getting a lot of stuff, if indeed, kind of making itself kind of notable in things. So
I mean, New York Undercover is cool. It would definitely bring flashbacks to the old New York that I remember.
Right. So, which actually reminds me of somebody, speaking of Beyond the Gates, there's a dude on there who could, if they ever rebooted New York Undercover, could definitely play Ed. So, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Next up, though, Shin Godzilla, according to this article, a banger, returns to theaters with a box office roar. So yeah, it's Shin Godzilla is getting a 4K release courtesy of G Kids. Recently returned to cinemas with a 4K release courtesy of G Kids, earning an impressive 2.5 mil over its opening weekend. I know we probably also talked about this in there, but I wanted to at least get the numbers in for that, because that's, hey, it's a good Godzilla movie also. So yeah, directed by Hideaki Anno of Neon Genesis Evangelion franchise fame, and tokusatsu legend Shinji Higuchi of Shin Ultraman, which I still have not seen yet, and Bullet Train Explosion. Shin Godzilla, they talk about that a little bit more. Y'all know what Shin Godzilla is. If y'all don't know what Godzilla is after all the time, I don't know what to tell you about you, honestly. But yeah. Shin Godzilla, I don't know if it's still in the theaters. This was from 3 days ago for this article, so I assume it's probably still running in theaters if folks want to check it out. Von Gloom says Tubi needs to take all of Zaslav's banished programming as a slap to him. That would be cool, but there's also licensing situations going on there, so I would that would be great. A lot of stuff is getting in there though, so it's that could potentially happen. In fact, that may have been somebody's plan. Either way, we are getting into Anime Corner.
Alrighty.
Transmute.
Alrighty, so you can say goodbye to parts of One Piece on August 31st because by the end of this month, Netflix is removing some key titles from the One Piece franchise. The One Piece film collection will be removed from the catalog of Netflix by August 31st per what's on Netflix. I mean, you're going to be able to find that somewhere anyway,
Right.
But I get it.
Right. At this point, most people are probably already watching it on Crunchyroll or if it's probably on Hulu or wherever else. So it's not that big of a loss. But I'm sure there's somebody who doesn't want to have to. There's some One Piece fan who doesn't have the whole 1,000 or whatever our collections up until now. It's probably like, why are they taking it off? But no big loss. That's just me. K-pop Demon Hunters 2 is looking kind of likely. Speaking of that thing, so yeah, that thing did well for Netflix. Okay, we need to stop that. In a recent story from somebody, who lays out some of the film's financials, namely how much it costs, and let's see, it says it cost Sony over $100 million to produce, and only $20 million went to the studio. Even with the film's brief upcoming theatrical run, apparently.
Because they didn't have faith in it.
Yes.
They didn't believe in it. That's why it went to Netflix.
Mm-hmm. Which that's what happens sometimes. Apparently, it can also release the film in China should the government allow it, according to this article. But sources told the reporter that the deal between the studio and the streamer allows for Sony to make more K-pop movies. And it's also already entering negotiations with co-directors Maggie Kang and Chris Applehans. Netflix isn't obligated to renegotiate, so if that happens, the sequel could be shopped around elsewhere or come to the big screen. And then they asked the question that we just kind of mentioned: why didn't Sony put out in theaters? So, and it kind of goes into that whole situation. But we paraphrased it for you, so you're welcome. Next up.
I'm sorry, I have some K-pop Demon Hunters music running through my head just now, so I needed to
purge it.
Yeah, refocus. Hulu gets 4 high dive anime in September 2025. Hulu continues to acquire anime streaming on high dive in the US, announcing 4 additional English subbed and dubbed titles. You can check out the list of high dive anime heading to Hulu in September below. So yeah, there's a bunch of them here. Himuto Umaru-chan, complete season 1. Insomniacs After School, complete season 1. Food Wars, the second plate, and Vermeil in Gold, complete season 1. Okay.
Food Wars is the one that most people will probably know. Obviously, there are, the real nerds would probably know some of those other ones, or excuse me, otaku. But yeah, most people know Food Wars. That one's a trip. Anyway, Blue Eye Samurai shares first season 2 preview. Excuse me. So yeah, apparently, I guess not surprising, Blue Eye Samurai is coming back. So Netflix has released a new poster for season 2, confirming that the second season will be quote coming soon, and production is underway. Considering how much the first season ended, according to this article, this is a story that fans have been waiting for, as Mizu has yet to enact her revenge. Spoiler alert. Not really. I mean, that's how things go. Specifically, the season 1 finale. Well, we're not going to go into all of that, but regardless, if you want to see the poster, there is that. If you're watching the video version, I still need to finish that actually, because I never did finish that show. But yeah, for what I saw, was actually pretty good. Next up,
and last up. So September this year at the box office is not going to be a big blockbuster like last year when Warner Brothers Beetlejuice snapped up 111 million, opening, just a lot of money. So the industry will have to take some respectable openings as they happen, following the 35 million expected opening of new lines, The Conjuring Last Rites, because this is like September's like kind of early Halloween stuff. Exhibitors have Crunchyroll's Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, Infinity Castle to look forward to the following weekend on September 12th. The movie, based on the manga series by Koyoharu Gotuge, is racking up record-breaking advance ticket sales for an anime movie since going on sale Friday, estimated to be near 10 million for the AMC, Regal, and Cinemark combined. Per sources, I know I'm going to need to get my get it moving and figure out when I'm going to be watching this with the usual crew. I know someone already reached out to me. Someone else reached out to me to ask me when I was going to be watching this, because they notified me that some tickets were being sold. Mm-hmm. I mean, when they had already looked, and tickets were selling pretty briskly for the first opening weekend.
Yeah, I think I just got the email or notification about it, like, if not yesterday, earlier today, one or two. I think it was yesterday, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, tickets are on sale, folks. Have at it. Next up, we're going to go into it's actually technically we're still in anime manga corner. So, hey, guess what, folks? Demon Slayer's getting a popcorn bucket.
Of course, you get this one.
Yeah, of course. There it is. According to this article, it's no Dune sandworm, but nothing is.
Thank goodness it's not.
Yeah, indeed. Actually, it's a nice looking bucket. It's not like the other one that we saw, though.
Right, but I like the design because it's actually based on what some of the visuals are in the movie.
Right.
Because what we saw at the end of the last season, it's actually a nice replica of that.
Right. So if you're watching the video version, you can see said popcorn bucket. It is Infinity Castle themed. It has LEDs in it, with, as it says, Infinity LED lid. Let's see who is getting this. Okay. The only official Demon Slayer Infinity bucket is available at Golden Screen Cinemas. I believe that was the other one that we talked about with the cells, with the film cell in it. But let's see. You see Tanjiro and Zenitsu right there. It doesn't necessarily say where that bucket's going to be.
Malaysia.
No, I think that was the other one. Or maybe this is that one, because that other one that we talked about, I thought that was the one that was in Malaysia.
I think it's going to be in Malaysia only.
Okay,
the Golden Screen Cinemas in Malaysia. So yeah, it's probably this is way too fancy for the U.S. to be honest.
Yeah, probably. I mean, but there are buckets out there with LED lights and stuff. And hell, that big ass Galactus one is crazy enough as it is.
That's true.
So it's not like they couldn't do it. And this article kind of says, like, yeah, hopefully other cinema chains in the US and UK will do it as well. Okay, I thought this one. I thought because there was that other one that we talked about, and I thought that the one that they mentioned was that one and not this one. So, but yeah, apparently this is Malaysia only. Just like that one was like somewhere only. I can't remember where that was. Either way, yeah, it's another popcorn bucket that we're not getting possibly. Next up, though.
The graphic novel adaptation of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit is getting a brand new expanded edition on September 16th. The upcoming hardcover edition has nearly 50 pages of new content that will appeal to longtime Tolkien fans and anyone who enjoys behind-the-scenes looks at the creative process of artists. The Hobbit, a graphic novel, revised and expanded edition, is available to pre-order for $31. It was initially $35 on Amazon, one of our sponsors.
So you too can go there and back again. Even though I know that's not. Yeah, just okay. Don't worry. Just keep going.
No, that's fine. That's a good one.
Graphic novel maker Gungnir strikes global deal with Macmillan. Gungnir, launched earlier this year as a self-styled subversive graphic novel publisher and immediately pushed into books-to-screen adaptation of Grievance, because of course it did. Now, the indie LA creative house has struck global distribution deal with Macmillan Publishers, which will add Gungnir to the global book giant's cadre of indie publishers. Initial titles published through the pact include Last Breeze, Aeon, The Dangerous History Saga, Existence Equation, and Never a Never Boy, none of which we have heard of, or I have heard of. So, yeah, and then it goes, apparently, Gungnir was launched in April with Steve Aoki, with a Steve Aoki graphic novel titled Hero Quest. I had heard of that one, but I think it was probably because of hearing about this thing also, because we may have talked about it. And going from there. So, okay, cool. Oh, and also apparently this has ties to the former CEO of Heavy Metal Magazine. So, sure.
Right. There's some names that would be familiar to comic book fans, like Steve Orlando and Jim Kruger.
Right.
So, there's some comic book veterans here who are involved in this particular venture.
Right.
And if you're not familiar with Gungnir, that is Odin's spear. That's the name of Odin's spear.
Sure. Not to be confused
So
with
it comes
video
from
games.
right. It comes from what we call it, from Norse mythology.
Next up, though.
Alrighty. Next up, Star Trek Lower Decks wins 2 Hugo Awards, the first franchise win since the Next Generation finale. Okay, so these are so apparently we said goodbye to the Lower Decks on Paramount Plus last December, but the legacy of the adult animated series lives on. So Lower Decks was a big winner this past weekend at the Hugo Awards. The World Science Fiction Society honored the series with nominations for two nominations in the category of Best Dramatic Presentation Short Form. And it won for the series finale. Okay.
Also won for the interactive graphic novel Star Trek Lower Decks Warp Your Own Way, written by Ryan North with art by Chris Finiglio. So congrats to Ryan North. Also, if you want to know, if you're interested, want to know who won other Hugo Awards, you can check the clickbait section in the show notes, because we did have a link there. And I have that Choose Your Own Adventure book, but I have not read it yet. So, yeah. Next up, though, Black Mirror graphic novels roll out on digital comic platform Inky Pen. So let's see. This is ahead of the launch of USS McAllister, the first of Twisted Comics' Black Mirror adaptations. A long-term agreement, which was in quotes, has been struck that will see the graphic novels rolling out on Inky Pen, which launched worldwide back in 2018, offering readers access to a huge library of titles. Episodes of the Netflix show are adapted by Twisted Comics' Neil Gibson and illustrated by Silvano Beltramo. The first 20 pages of USS McAllister will be offered as a sneak peek ahead of the comics rolling out in physical form later this year. It is available for pre-order and will publish in the fall or winter, followed by an adaptation of another popular episode, San Junipero, in 2026. So there you go. Next up.
Alrighty, this September, The Curse of Shirley Johnson #3. I'm like, what? Will deliver a landmark moment for the Spawn universe and features not one but two jaw-dropping variant covers by comic legend Frank Miller, including a must-have collaboration with Spawn creator and Image Comics president Todd McFarlane himself. Okay.
Yeah.
It's their first time working together on cover art since 1994's Wizard magazine #32, and their first cover collaboration ever set within the Spawn universe. When I saw those dates, I was like,
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah, indeed.
listen, Frank Miller is not getting any younger, so
No,
I'm glad to see him, still putting out some artwork.
I was about to say, none of us are realistically, but yeah, indeed. Von Gloom says, we are living in an episode of Black Mirror, which is a sentiment that I've heard in a couple other places. We don't need any more content. I still have not watched any of that show, honestly. So,
same.
But I keep hearing about that episode, or the episode that we mentioned, and a couple of others. So maybe one of these days. Next up, though, former Disney Channel star is writing a new comic book series at Image Comics. Let's see. That Disney Channel star is Franklin Jonas. According to this, Jonas was once a recurring character on the Disney Channel show Jonas. Weird. But has also gone on to be an accomplished singer-songwriter. I assume it's one of the Jonas Brothers. Is this what they're dancing around? I don't know.
No idea.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, according to this article, is making his insane comic book debut as a writer for this absolutely massive project. And that project is Lost Fantasy, and apparently, which all starts in Lost Fantasy #5, which I guess this one is. So for those who aren't aware, Lost Fantasy is an Image Comics original set in a world almost like our own, except for the fact that it's connected to a second magical world that has always existed beneath our own. That old chestnut. A century ago, the barrier between the two worlds was shattered, and now monsters can pass through into our world. Ever since, monster hunters known as Great Hunters have worked with global leaders to secretly keep the world safe. Once again, that old chestnut. Actually, kind of sounds like Solo Leveling. But anyway, unfortunately, something broke through the lines and massacred people in Montana, and now the uneasy safety of the whole world might rest on the shoulders of a rookie hunter, Henry Blackheart. And it's written by, which is, I guess, written by Kurt Pyers and drawn by Luca Casalunegueda. So, and I guess Jonas is going to come in issue 5. So, there you go. Next up.
Alrighty, so we're talking about one of the concepts that's going to come out of the second arc of the new Captain America series by Chip Zdarsky and Valerio Schiti, and they've basically spoiled that the arc will have some guest artists on it, and the new storyline is going to introduce 4 new characters, each representing one of the 5 permanent member countries of the United Nations Security Council. Captain Kingdom representing United Kingdom, Captain France representing France, Red Widow representing Russia, and the Star representing China. Dubbed the United Captains, they'll assemble with Captain America to keep Latvia from falling into chaos. Yeah, so it's a little bit of a remix on what would happen if Steve Rogers was unfrozen and a little closer to today's times.
Wait. Red Widow was an established character already, were they not?
Yeah, like I said, it's a bit of a remix.
Huh. Okay. So if you're watching the video version, you can see the concept art of these characters. Do you think this F1 might think? Okay, I'm not going to do that. but that was you can't help but not think that. Anyway, next up, as I skip past that,
Surrender. I was about to say, like, do you think Captain France is going to surrender somewhere at some point?
Exactly. Wiccan walks the witch's road down the road to mystical greatness in first solo comic series, which just goes back to what I alluded to in Imperial, by, if I'm not mistaken. But following Wiccan and Hulkling's part in Jonathan Hickman's Imperial, Hulkling's life is on the line, forcing Wiccan to take a spellbinding trip down the witch's road, where he'll face a new enemy and discover his unique role in protecting Earth from magical threats. Something Wiccan this way comes thanks to this Marvel article, because that is the kind of pun that would come from that. Well, it's not the only place. Anyway, a dark macabre adventure awaits down the witch's road that will reshape Wiccan and the magical fabric of the Marvel Universe forever. Probably not. Wiccan and Hulkling revive back on Earth, but nothing is ever easy for the Marvel's favorite former space emperors. With Hulkling grievously wounded, it is up to Wiccan to save the day, but what lengths will he be willing to go to do so? Like I said, yeah, this week's issue of Imperial kind of sparked this by their part of it. Anyway, it is a 5-issue miniseries, which is written by Wyatt Kennedy with art by Andy Pereira. So there you go, and you can see the Lucas Werneck cover right there if you're watching the video version. And it's going to be on sale December the 3rd. So there you go. Next up.
Alrighty, so Philip Kennedy Johnson and Nick Klein's Incredible Hulk, which I have definitely fallen super behind on, but I've been dabbling with here and there, has reawakened monsters and reignited horror storytelling across the Marvel Universe. This November, the two will launch Infernal Hulk, a monstrous new chapter following their bold run that debuts the most horrifying or terrifying Hulk in comic book history. So this basically is coming out of this is going to come out of October's Incredible Hulk number 30. I don't want to spoil the whole thing because there's a lot here, but yeah, it's another twist on Bruce and the Hulk being split apart for nefarious reasons.
And also, Immortal Hulk says "ha."
Right.
Anyway, Ultimate Wolverine gets extended for longer ahead of Ultimate Endgame, according to this article. So let's see. The series is officially extended, continuing through 2026 in Marvel's Ultimate Universe. Writer Chris Condon reveals a 12-issue arc with direct ties to Ultimate Endgame's epic storyline. And apparently, upcoming issues will feature Wolverine clashing with Ultimate Angel and Omega Red in major battles, and that the Ultimate Endgame event promises the Maker's return and multi-title showdown in the Ultimate Universe, which we knew, and all of this. So yeah, there you go. Next up.
The Age of Apocalypse returns in X-Men of Apocalypse, a 6-part event series by legendary scribe Jeff Loeb, a writer behind the original event, and Eisner-nominated artist Simone DeMeo. Let's see here. Marking the 30th anniversary of the original X-Men Age of Apocalypse crossover.
I'm too old for this shit.
It kicks off next month in X-Men of Apocalypse Alpha number 1, continuing through X-Men of Apocalypse number 1 through 4, and concluding in X-Men of Apocalypse Omega number 1. Good God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look at that cover. X-Man and Sabretooth, my God.
There you go. If you're watching the video version, you can see said cover. Yeah, and this was hinted at in, what was it, Giant Size X-Men, probably the number, 2 or 3, one of those, which was the backup story. So, yeah. At least, yeah, I think that was actually the case. November 5th. There you go. I, again, have never read Age of Apocalypse. That was one of the ones we were going to get to, but we never did when we were doing the Evergreen episodes. So maybe I'll check it out. I don't know. Miles Morales gets some powerful backup in the God War finale. Spoiler alert for Miles Morales, the Spider-Man 36, which is why I asked Agent 70 prior to the show whether he was still up on it. See, after an epic confrontation with numerous Olympians, most of whom were led by Ares himself. So yeah, Miles finally gets a chance to catch his breath. But he instead of going back to Earth to spend some time with his people, he hangs out with Anansi and gets into some stuff, I guess. So therein lies that. That's all I'm going to say about that, because I believe that came out last week, and neither one of us have been reading it. But just in case either one of us chance to go back to it, don't want to get too much into it. Next up,
you have the opportunity to bow before Doctor Doom with a reissue of a Hasbro Marvel Legends Doctor Doom that came out relatively recently. And now it's being reissued because Doom is everywhere, and it's pretty cool. You have the opportunity to get it. It's being reissued for only $29.99. Pre-orders are already live on fan channel sites, including Big Bad Toy Store, GameStop, and more, with a November 2025 release date.
yes.
I remember this one because it's got a lot of cool accessories, like a copy of the Darkhold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're watching the video version, you can see your images for yourself. There you go, especially the one with the Darkhold in hand, because of course he's got a copy. Next up, the Mandarin strikes in Hasbro's newest Marvel Legends reveal. So this is a 2-pack with Extremis Iron Man and the Mandarin. Hang on for a second. Yeah, there we go. Damn pop-ups, stop it. So we get to see the packaging right there. There is there's extra hands. There's a face. There's the the Iron Man helmet, and of course one with Tony's head, and of course there's the Mandarin figure with 2 heads and some other accoutrement. There you go. Flipping through the pages, them being posed. Sorry for the clicking. But yeah, there you go. So yeah, how much is this? What did it say?
It's probably 50.
It is indeed 50, and actually went on pre-order on the 19th. So
Right, on Amazon.
Yep. So there you go. Next up.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get this. I really would have preferred a more classic-looking Mandarin as opposed to this more modern Mandarin.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I don't think that that classic Mandarin's going to play nowadays. So,
yeah, but at least they have like robes and stuff. You know what I mean? But
I mean, they could still do they've done figures for stuff before. They could still do that, but yeah, I think the figure has less to do with the portrayal therein these days. So they could very well do it. Maybe they're going to do one at some point.
Right. So you can get another. Pre-order is already up if it's not already sold out for $49.99 of brown suit Wolverine and like first costume, first appearance Storm. They count this as an X-Men 97 release, so you can go check that out now.
Mm-hmm. You can see the packaging right there. There you go. Bam, 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 bam. Nice. Galactus returns with massive new Fantastic Four Marvel figure. So yeah, it's another one not different from the one that we talked about last week or whatever. This is a part of Mondo's soft vinyl collection. It is a massive 15 inches tall, according to this article. Also says it needs to be tall because it has to tower over buildings. That is what the article is saying. Figure comes with Baxter Building, Silver Surfer accessory figure, Energy Oracle accessory, and an energy hand swap. This is 200 bones. There you go. Yeah, and you can see said figure in hand and posed in a couple of different ways. And yeah, there you go, folks. Next up.
Yeah, it definitely has a distinctive style to it. That's what Mondo does.
Mm-hmm. This is true. Next up.
Spider-Man Venom versus Web Slinging City playset is here. So this is kind of reminiscent of like the smaller figures and playsets. So it's the Spider-Man Venom versus Web Slinging City playset and Iron Man and his awesome friends Electronic Iron Cores playsets. They're available for pre-order. These are geared for the younger set. And I don't see any pricing here, but these playsets are pretty elaborate. The Iron Man is most definitely geared for younger kids. You can tell from what's on display here.
Mm-hmm. $92.99 according to the link in the article.
Oh, that's expensive.
That is, and the Iron Man one is $56.99. So there you go. That's yeah. I don't know what's going on with these GameStop. Okay, here's the thing that I've been waiting to get to because I've been wanting to talk about this since I saw this at coming out of Gamescom. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe are ready to beat up everyone in a new game. So yes, folks, He-Man and the rest of his crew are getting a side-scrolling beat 'em up. Just like the Turtles and other folks
Marvel
have been getting, yes,
right.
And Marvel is getting, and Power Rangers also, and G.I. Joe actually got one, which that one's not as great, but hey, it's all right. So yeah, during Gamescom 2025, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, the Dragon Pearl of Destruction, was officially unveiled, marking a triumphant return for Eternia's heroes in a form of a side-scrolling beat 'em up. As I said, the game promises 4-player cooperative action, allowing fans to take control of He-Man, Teela, Man-at-Arms, with a mysterious fourth character yet to be confirmed. That's probably not Orko. Or
it might be She-Ra.
I doubt it, but could be. My money is probably, well, I said I don't think it'd be on Orko, and I very much doubt it'd be She-Ra. But that's also possible.
You think they save her for a sequel
or DLC? That is quite likely. I would say also probably the Sorcerers, but I kind of doubt that too. But that I feel like the Sorcerer would probably be. Yeah, I don't know. Because I'm thinking of the roster, and it's like, are they gonna do Triclops? What are we doing? I mean, not Triclops, or what was ever the bird dude's name was, or
Stratos.
Stratos. There you go. Or one of them cats. Manny faces. I don't know. Anyway, regardless, it's coming from Limited Run and Bitmap Bureau Limited, by the by. So, and probably going to be regularly priced as video game, or probably 50 or 50, 60. I don't know the way those things are going. But yeah, it looked pretty good from what I saw of the trailer. So, yeah, we'll have to check it out when it pops up. Next up.
Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight has been announced at Gamescom Opening Night Live, featuring an open world version of Gotham. You can drive around in the Batmobile. The ambitious looking project is being developed by TT Games, the studio behind Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, and numerous other licensed Lego games, and is set to launch on Nintendo Switch 2, PC via Steam, and the Epic Games Store, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X/S.
Yeah, those Lego games come to everything, so that's not a surprise. And Matt Berry's playing Bane, by the way, because that came out in the. So this is another Lego game. They're all out there. This one actually looks pretty decent, and it's a lot of references was going on in that. A lot of different references was going on in that trailer that I'm not sure how they're going to pull it together, but. There was even Matt Berry saying the Bane line from Dark Knight Rises or whatever that was. The you think you live in darkness type situation, which was kind of funny. And the last thing they said in this in the trailer. But yeah, it's gonna be doing a lot. So, and of course, for those who already know about it, yes, it is doing the Batman combat. So there you go. And apparently no Joker, at least as far as we know right now. Next up, though, NECA reveals DC Comics Classic Comics Toonie Classic Series 2. That's a mouthful. So here you got cartoonish versions of, actually that kind of just looks like Absolute Batman, honestly, that first one, because it's swole. But you got Batman with his dukes up. You got Catwoman, Penguin, and yeah, that is it. It is a bundle 3-pack for $44.97, and the set is expected to begin shipping around Q1 2026. So there it is, lies that. They're 6 inches, if I didn't say that already. And yeah, if you're watching the video version, you can see the pictures, the figures. Next up.
Hot Toys reveals a new Batman Arkham Knight 1/6 scale Nightwing. So this is a new Hot Toys thing using the Arkham Knight's in-game design. It features 31 points of articulation, signature Screamer sticks, and a range of accessories. There's only 2,000 that is, pieces available. It stands 12 inches tall and recreates Dick Grayson's iconic look from Arkham Knight. Pre-orders are already live for $280. It is Hot Toys after all.
Yep.
With a March 2026 release date.
Oh, I know those are all the pictures. There we go. Yeah, and there's also this with Batman and Batgirl, and of course the picture with all the all the accoutrements, as we like to say. So there you go. Next up, new Arkham Asylum Lego set assembles Batman's Rogue Gallery for Prison Chaos. So, yeah, so, Lego Arkham Asylum. It is coming out this fall. Wait, oh, here we go. Clocking in at 2,953 pieces. Jesus. This detailed Lego Arkham Asylum is described as both, quote, a stunning display piece and a unique 24-day Lego Batman Advent calendar. What does that mean? Well, the entire build has been designed so that you can build one chunk at a time every day for 24 days. According to this article, you might assume this would be better for Halloween, but Batman has been known to deliver plenty of memorable Christmas-themed stories, especially when you have Mr. Freeze in the mix, according to this article. So yeah, there you go. Lego Arkham Asylum, folks. Next up.
Get ready for a new Transformers Takara Tomy Missing Link release. A C-01N Nemesis Prime arrives and is bringing his trailer with him. Nemesis Prime is the dark mirror of Optimus Prime and is a corrupted evil clone who is portrayed as a ruthless enforcer of destruction and chaos. First introduced in Transformers Armada 2003. So now, the character has become a recurring villain across various Transformers media. He's basically the Oppo of Optimus Prime, so that's what we've got here. We were just joking before about whether or not, a few episodes ago, whether or not I would pick up the Takara Tomy Missing Link Optimus Prime because it's a pretty accurate depiction of the OG G1 Optimus Prime, but with better, it's just a better version, and now this is the dark version.
Mm-hmm. And if you're watching the video version, you can see it. Of course, it's just black with light pink highlights and with all the stuff with it that Optimus Prime would also have, including the trailer and the wheeler. Next up, wait, you said the price already.
Oh, I don't think so. I already closed it. Give me 1 second. Do you have the price?
Yeah, pre-orders are open for $131.99 on Hasbro Pulse with a release date of May 2026.
There you go.
26. Let's see. And next up, we have in-hand pictures of the Masters of the Universe Transformers, Bumblebee and Megatron. Yeah. So if you're watching the video version, you can see said pics alongside their G1 counterparts or closest proximities. So they are available for pre-order on MattelCreations.com. This article says similar to HasbroPulse.com, if that wasn't apparent. But yeah, also you can see packaging right there, and with Skeletor and Man-at-Arms on the back, or I assume Bumblebee and Megatron on the side of this, or on the back. I don't know, but yeah, neat. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't matter because we had already talked about these, but yeah, pre-orders are already out there and they're due to ship for 2020 October 2025. So soon. Next up.
All right, via Bloki's Weibo and Facebook accounts, we now have official images of the upcoming Bloki's Champion Class Transformers Dark of the Moon Optimus Prime. This figure is part of the Bloki's 11.5 centimeter model kits featuring LED lights and a good range of posability, formerly known as Classic Class. He's part of the new wave together with the recently revealed Bloki's Champion Class TF1 Megatronus Prime. This is obviously the movie, is based on the movie figure. So take a look at these very movie based figures. So this shows the regular Optimus Prime figure and his Jetwing mode, plus all the guns, melee weapons, display base, and accessories included.
And we're talking about the Bay version of movies, not the
yes, the movie, yeah, Michael Bay, yeah.
Notice I said the actual good movie. Master Replicas debuted new Star Trek light up L-Cars displays. So let's see, the team at Master Replicas is back with their newest Star Trek product, and yeah, the company has launched a new line of light up Master Systems display panels, showcasing the classic engineering cutaway graphics of your favorite Trek starships, beginning with the USS Defiant from Star Trek DS9. Yes, I would probably get that one. Built with full color backlit film like the iconic L-Cars graphics seen in the 1990s era Star Trek shows. The Master Replicas MSD panels are designed to be displayed freestanding on a shelf or displayed on a wall, and this artwork can be seen even when the lighting is turned off. It is, let's see, the Defiant panel is 31.5 by 10 by 25 and is available for pre-order right now for $125 USDs, with an anticipated October ship date. And they are expecting to follow up with the Enterprise D, Voyager, and more. Next up.
Are you getting one?
Tempting. I don't know. I would definitely get the Defiant as one of them, but I don't know. So.
Right, because it's interesting, because it looks like one, but can you kind of like touch it, and is it supposed to make noises and stuff?
No, sounds like it's just the light up.
Or light up at the press of a button.
Right.
But yeah, it's just it's a freestanding art piece. That's really what it is, which
basically
sucks.
Yeah. It's not like the stuff they were pushing. This is basically like they would go up, like in the show, they would go up and just like, see, here's where we got hit, here, and here. They would never touch those ones. So.
Did you ever install the L-Cars theme on your computer back in the day when that was like a thing?
I want to fact, if I did not do it, I think I either did it there or on my phone, because it was like a wallpaper back. But yes,
got it. I never did it on my phone. I did it on my computer. And that was I had a lot of dorky fun with that shit.
Yeah, and I know they ended up doing more with that because you could do like voice, at some point you could do like voice stuff with it, and as things kind of came along. So yeah, that was fun. I did do that for a moment because L-Cars looked cool, but you never understood how in the hell they knew what they were pressing, because they seemed to be pressing the same thing every time.
Alrighty, next up, this is a review of EXO-6's Star Trek Cage Spock, and it's dressed for a landing party success. Okay, I'm gonna take your word on that. It's priced at $210, and Right. It goes into big detail about the head sculpt and the recreation of this quote unquote iconic character. I'm being mildly sarcastic. And
Hey.
yeah, this is it's obviously expensive, but it looks pretty cool.
Yeah. So for folks that did not know, the Cage is, folks probably do know, the Cage was the pilot for Star Trek, where, it was Pike and not and not Kirk who was the captain. But even though Pike ended up coming, matter of fact, they even got a picture of that version of Pike here, who might also be out, I guess, already. Yeah. Oh yeah, the pre-orders for Pike is already out, and a Telosian. So from that episode, so there you go. Stuff from the pilot. You're welcome.
Who?
Yeah, right. Come on. Anyway, next up.
No, I'm being real.
Really? You don't know about Pike?
I know who Pike is, but you were mentioning some of the other stuff. I was like, who?
The Telosian. Yeah, the Telosian was the alien that they dealt with.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm like, wait, do I have a reaction for? Oh man, you'd hate it, but it makes me think I need to get a Stone Cold Steve Austin saying what?
I mean,
because I was like, what is that?
Right, considering the number of the Rock sound bites.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine.
That's funny.
Anywho, and I think the Telosians probably came back up on another, because that was a pilot that, while it gets shown, like I said, that I think they run them in a weird ass order. Regardless, doesn't matter. Jim by the Loyal Subjects is getting a wider release. There's this Jim from Jim and the Holograms, if that wasn't apparent. So it's a doll that stands 12 inches tall with 28 points of articulation. It's $34.99, and it is scheduled to come out in November. There is no truly outrageous pun that has been done here, but I'm sure. Oh nope, I stand corrected. There very much was in the next line, so I stand corrected. No holograms though, just Jim. Sure. Next up.
That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, and there's Von Gloom with the outrageous, of course. Truly outrageous. Waiting in the wings to say so. I love it.
Alrighty. So it's time for New York to announce some of the things that are being set up for New York Comic Con. Entertainment Weekly exclusively revealed the lineup of panels and programming coming to New York Comic Con 2025, which runs obviously from October 9th through October 12th. Let's see here. Right, so there is a panel for, what is this, the Mighty Nine?
Oh, that's a
on Prime Video. So this is something from Critical Role.
Yeah, it's a Crit Role thing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. HBO Max is presenting a Night of the Seven Kingdoms panel. So yeah, this is a Westeros thing, because George R.R. Martin, who's not writing anything right now, is going to appear at New York Comic Con.
I mean, hey,
no, I'm just saying. Go ahead.
No, I was about to say, well, he might be still raking it in on Elden Ring stuff, but which was the video game that he wrote and has been a part of. But yeah, he probably still ain't writing nothing from that either. So, but yeah, there's a bunch of panels here that are talked about here. Apple TV presents Slow Horses. I actually liked what I saw of that show, and I need to go back and finish that because it seems interesting. There's the Marvel Comics Spider-Man and his Venomous Friends panel with Jordan White and CB Cebulski and Al Ewing. So let's see, Prime Video.
Yeah, there's a lot here. I just kept scrolling, like, this is a gigantic article.
Mm-hmm. Invincible panel, RoboCop. Have you watched that Alien Earth?
I have not, because I'm not the biggest Alien fan, and I feel like I don't know if this is a good jumping on point. Maybe I just need to go back and watch all the films before I watch this. I'm not sure.
Maybe, I don't know, but I want to say that I think this might be a prequel to something. I don't know where the hell they've done thing. Running Man, DC got some, but this is about the stuff regardless. Obviously an X-Men panel. G-Kids is doing a thing. Jim Lee. There's one on the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game.
Yeah, they're doing a reunion, an X-Men reunion on Sunday. Wow, that's a big day. That's interesting that they would do a big panel like that on Sunday.
Right, and Agents of, like you said, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reunion with Clark Gregg, Ming-Na Wen, and Chloe Bennett. On for that Saturday. That would be something of interest, honestly. Let's see, it's Marvel Animation, Bob's Burgers, but next big thing, of course, because they do that, a lot of stuff. Like I said, I'm still scrolling, and like you just said,
it's definitely trying to emulate what San Diego does, because I can tell you that the San Diego programming is insane, but they just have that many more meeting rooms at the San Diego Convention Center. So, but it's still cool that they're definitely expanding the programming options at New York Comic Con.
Metal Gear? Yep. But anyway, yeah, so you can check that out in the article there, and definitely Agent 70 will be on hand. I don't know if he's gonna check out any of these in any of these panels, but hey.
I'll try to make it to a few. Definitely not some of the bigger. It's hard to get into some of the bigger ones.
Oh, sure. No doubt. Actually, I'll get to what Von Grimm said in a second. But last but not least, actually, speaking of, Star Trek also heads to New York Comic Con for Starfleet Academy, Strange New Worlds, and Surprises. So yeah, they'll be at the con as well. And I'm sure their stuff was in that list that we kind of glossed over. So
we had to breeze through it. It's a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. We wouldn't go through all of that, but just know that stuff was out there. And before we get into the last ad read, Von Gloom says that he tried to show his daughter's gym and they didn't bite. Well, wait, you tried to show? No. I assume you tried to show them the show, which I don't know that. I don't know how well that show would work with the younger crowd these days, but I mean, right? It was a good show,
and of course, I was about to say, of course, they would prefer K-pop Demon Hunters because it's so well done. That's the thing; like, it's just that it's modern, and obviously it has modern sensibility, and it has just super catchy music.
So that's what I was about to say. Yes, the sensibility is more so than some of the other stuff you just said. But yes, that all still applies. Again, I have not watched it yet, so I'm talking out my ass. But it makes sense because the kids nowadays are more into K-pop and and the like. So it makes sense that they would gravitate toward that than say a Gem and Holograms, which was more of an '80s pop. Well, I mean, I guess if they're Taylor Swift is declining, then some of that might still play, but yeah, I'm not surprised that they probably didn't bite, that's kind of shame. As someone said, I can't tell you who this person is, but something about losing recipes. But yeah, I know who said it. I'm just not gonna mention the name. But now we're gonna get into the last ad read before we dip out of here.
The last ad read of the night. It's for Amazon. Keep our podcast free by shopping at Amazon. Visit cspn.us and click the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon as you normally would, whether it's books, music, electronics, jewelry, apparel, or Marvel Legends. For every purchase made on Amazon through our link, Amazon sends the CSPN a payment. Oop. That helps us keep the Comic Book Chronicles podcast free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. Amazon.com through CSPN.us. Do it today.
Hey, Von Gloom, have you tried putting them on to Howard the Duck, the movie? I was gonna say
I
Josie.
think that's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah, yeah, but it would be fun. Because I was gonna say Josie and the Pussycats. There was a story I was gonna put in the show notes about that, but that might be next week about something aligned with that movie. But that movie wasn't great. So neither was a Jim for live action movies, from what I heard. But you know, who expected that to be the case? But yeah, that, folks, is it for this here episode of the night. Again, as we said at the top of the show, we will talk about Peacemaker begrudgingly next week because we didn't get a chance to watch it.
Maybe not begrudgingly, but at the end of the day, it's probably not. It's not like it's not something I'm truly looking forward to, because I may find myself groaning far more often than I want to.
I stand behind what I said, begrudgingly. Agent 70 might not agree with it, but I'm saying begrudgingly for me. But yeah, we'll give our impressions of that next week, I guess, of 2 episodes. And because it depends on, I guess, if it's coming out at the same time every week, then yeah, we'll see how that works out. But Von Gloom says, no, I have thought of that. We're talking about Howard the Duck. I might try to get them. Might try them because they like Godzilla. That's a bit of a stretch, but hey, like I said, Howard the Duck, that's an interesting one, especially for as dated as it is. I still enjoy that movie, but I'm not going to sit here and say it's a good movie either. So, but also has some fairly decent music in it, especially that one song. But yeah, you see, report back and see what you. See what's weird. But with that, folks, I have been Roddykat. You can find me at Roddykat on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at Newsers Nito on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find me at CBCaps on Instagram. Agent_70 on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads. You can also find this, for a brief second, I was going to go through 2 other names who haven't been a part of the show for a mighty long time. And the fact that I actually thought about doing it was funny. But you can find this here podcast on the Cold Slither Podcast Network. That's on CSPN.us.
Do it today.
Shout out to TimDog97 and PC_Dirt, by the by.
You actually called him TimDog97.
Oh, I did?
TimDog98. Yes.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm thinking of X-Men 97, and that's kind of got put together. But yes, TimDog98. But anyways, you can also find this here podcast on your podcast perusal place of choice. It's also late. Apple iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the Coastal of the Podcast Network SoundCloud page.
Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave us all the positive 5-star reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, because that helps people find our show.
Indeed. You can find us here next week. Recording live and mostly every week, Thursdays, 9 something, probably closer to 10 o'clock. Let's just go ahead and say on youtube.com.
I'm trying not to go closer to 10 o'clock, but things happen. That's the thing. Like, we encounter technical difficulties. It's
or
the gremlins pop up. We've always had gremlins on the show.
Yeah, or sitting there talking, or somebody's trying to get one last book in. It's a number of things. But regardless, still 9:30, closer to 10 o'clock, youtube.com/TheCliqsNation and twitch.tv/Comic Book Chronicles.
Begrudgingly clicking that.
Because he knows I'm right. And with that, folks, this has been, hopefully I will have a little bit of toy show and tell next week. We shall see, or one of us will, but I definitely hope to, if the thing should have come in by now comes in. But with that, this has been the Comic Book Chronicles. Peace.
Peace. 1.
Good evening, Rick. Would you believe it's Dr. Doom?
What's on your evil mind?
Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really Iron Man, Mr. Stark?